Welcome,
Cryptic
welcome,
start.
welcome, everybody. Welcome to BeoTalk number 313. Yeah, we were talking about totally different things.
That's right.
And not even B&O related, Terminator
No,
2
not a.
related.
Oh boy. So yeah, that was yeah, off air. And now we're on air, so
Yeah.
let's concentrate. Oh,
So
I
if
got
you,
something. Yeah,
uh,
you do shilling, do shilling.
yeah, buy stuff at Skinny Play, use the promo code 10% off. Always good stuff. Come join our Discord if you haven't yet already.
Well of information to be found in there, as always.
Yeah, and it also seems to be more useful than the actual manuals times.
All the manuals.
And in case you haven't yet, leave a like and subscribe. Please and thank you. That's about it. How was your week?
It's not bad. It's pretty interesting. I did a lot of driving, but I guess I ended my Friday on bad news with the lady. I went to see her BioVision 1140, and nope, it's RIP status.
As
So,
in, not even that backlight chip
bro,
thingy?
the weird thing is the light turns on green for a few seconds and then it shuts off. Right?
Yeah.
You press TV button on the remote, it goes green, no display, no sound. Press radio, no sound. AV radio, no sound. But you turn it off and you put it to option programming, it takes the options. Interestingly enough, I puzzled. So, in my opinion, I think it's the part of the power supply board that's gone. That it's keeping some of this IR shit alive, I guess. But the
Yeah.
rest of it is kaput. So, yeah, it's going to be a plan B, which would be I think, a commercial solution with the Contour 48.
Yeah, at this
The
point, it's not
weirdest house I've
really
ever
worth
seen.
it to fix it
No,
anymore.
no. That's
Unless you're sort of money is no object kind of person, but
yeah, but why would you buy a new suit for a dead guy? You know what I mean? He don't
yeah.
know. So, and that's but the house, man, it's unforgettable. I've never been in a house like that, first of all. Second of all, I've never been in so much doubt that I'm on the fucking right way to get to the house in my life ever before.
What, it's in the boondocks or something?
Bro, you go in, right? It's like this indescript gate, right? And thankfully I had the code on the invoice, right? So I punch it in, gate opens, and I drive. And I drive. And I drive and I drive and I drive for 15 fucking minutes in a dirt road, right? And it like wears off. And am I going the right way? I guess I was going on the road that it has the most heavier tire wear, I guess.
Yeah.
After I think about 10 minutes, I get to this like a fork, and there's a little sign with the numbers. I'm like, okay, 7. I guess that because her house was number 7. So I drive down, bro, in the middle of the forest, like absolutely. She's got no yard. Like you look out the window, it's a meter and a half away. There's a big, like, fuck off oak tree, just and the little creek. It's beautiful. Like it's absolutely the most scenic house I've ever seen, but built like in a Japanese style, but all black. Everything's black inside. Very weird.
Okay.
That house must be darker than a cave at the night, man. There's like it's absolutely weird. But yeah, it was very, very nice. I don't understand how people build these things so far out in the nowhere and then they complain, oh, it's so hard to get contractors. Like, bro, the half of them don't even know if they're on the right road.
Maybe they really hate people. I don't know.
But yeah, it was very interesting, very, very far out. It's funny, like, I guess if you look at it from like the factory worker point of view in a B&O factory, right? Like I would wonder, like, where does this TV, that I just finished building end up at, right? Like, is it Dubai? Is it Montreal? Somewhere out 2 hours away from the city in the middle of the forest? You never know, but it's interesting where all the places that we go to that B&O gear makes it. It makes it, I think, further than any of the conventional stuff, I guess, because it doesn't need servicing that much.
No, especially when do you have internet or just mobile internet out there?
No, I think that they have internet, obviously running water and sewage, but yeah, I don't know. They have like Kojiko stuff, like it's regular cable TV there, so they have connection, which is absolutely baffling to me how they even get that there.
That's probably 150 grand, 200 grand in just digging trenches on your property.
Oh, I would say way more than that, man. If you're driving 10 minutes at 20 kilometers an hour, I would say that's at least 2-3 kilometer driveway.
Whoa.
And it's not like it's a straight shot with the red carpet and, the bollards are, singing on the sides. No, man. It's meander through the woods and get to the point where I'm like, thank God it's summer, because there is no way in hell that I would make it here with my transit up this hill, let alone coming back down it. Like, that's ditch city, bro. Right away. There's no way of making that. But yeah, they drive these big mud boggers there, right? Because there's no other way. Like, how do you get there? How do you get home in the middle of winter when it snows fucking 30, 40 centimeters overnight? How do you do anything? She's like, oh yeah, no, they plow stuff here. I'm like, okay. I wouldn't live here, but maybe if I was, I don't know. The lady's 80 years old too, which is kind of crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah. She had no like life alert thing at all, so I don't know. It's just weird. If you go, by God and everything else, and whenever they find you, that's when you get found. Yeah, it was very interesting. Yeah, it was a very interesting house. Never seen anything like it. And trust me, I do see a lot of beautiful homes in a lot of weird spots, but I've seen also a lot of beautiful homes built in spots that I wouldn't put a freaking tire center in there. But people make their own calls, right? So, anyways, I guess the new headphones are coming out.
Yeah, the launch is going so smoothly.
Terribly good. Yeah, it's going terribly good. So I'm gonna leak a piece of information, and it's this. This is what the B&O headphones should be presented on with white gloves. This is that English breakfast tray, I guess.
I guess.
One thing that I'm disappointed, B&O, there's no logo on it. You guys should have at least laser etched the logo on this thing, and that would raise its eBay value. But no, it's pretty cool. It's literally made exactly the same finish. I haven't even opened it, but it's made exactly the same finish as the BeoSound Moment floor stand from STB Brackets, or the top of the metal rail of the 3500, 5500, 6500, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of the polished one. It's an extruded aluminum tray. It's very nice. Which is kind of surprising that such significant headphones don't really have a shop display. Like, we didn't really get any instruction on where to, like, are you supposed to hang them, or are you supposed to just have them in the cabinet, and when somebody comes and asks, then you like ceremonially present them with the tray? I'm not understanding that yet, how that is going to transpire. But I don't think that me showing this is as bad as some people posting online already a product that is not even ready on the app yet. But I will. Hey, Digibricks, good evening. I will definitely crack them open on Tuesday if I make it to the store in time, because I've got a few things to go to. Question to everybody that has a theater with BeoLab 19. Do you guys set the low pass filter to on or off?
From memory, I think you need to set it to off, right?
Incorrect. Apparently. Because it starts bubbling. Like, it puts a lot of mid-range into the sub. I've had this with the BeoConnect core. You have to turn the low pass filter on.
Huh.
Then yeah. I've had that, and I've learned it, looking dumb too, because I, just put it on, and then we turn on the music, and I'm like, what the fuck is it with the sound, bro? It sounds worse than a Customass module.
Yeah.
And then you change the low pass filter, and it shaves off all the mid range crap coming into the subwoofer. For some reason, it does. I don't know why. Which I guess will also explain the anomaly back in 2012 when Biosystem 4 came out with the transmitter one, and all the 17, 18, and 19 speakers were basically included in the setup. And I was in training in San Francisco, and for some reason the transmitter would keep assigning the center channel to the subwoofer, and if you had the low pass filter off, you could actually hear the vocals very clearly. It was quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean the 19 is pretty flat from like 20 hertz to like 200 hertz.
Yes.
So it will do a lot of mid range if needed. I guess it's both a good and a bad thing because most speakers don't need that, but like threes and fours could really benefit from that.
Yeah. Well, do they? I don't think so. I think it just mucks up the sound. I think, in my opinion. Let me just get some soda. I gotta say, I took home the BeoLab 14 subwoofer just for the shits and giggles. Plugged it into instead of my BeoLab 11, right? I didn't change anything in the theater as far as the presets or assignments, right?
Mm.
Oh, dude, that thing is insanity how much it rocks. It's insane. It's absolutely crazy. It's still a little bit muddy, I guess, or you can hear the bass port once you get to the connoisseurism of bass. But it's still just a good throwback reminder of how awesome that system was. I hope that B&O comes up with something like that. I think they should have made, well, I guess price-wise, like to accompany the theater per se, right? Like you could have introduced something along those lines.
Yeah. Wait, is there still a audio? Is it there a delay between multi-rooming from audio source on the theater to anything else?
Not in my house.
Because I recently joined my theater and all its accompanied speakers to the moment, and that played fine.
I think what Matt Marta is probably suffering with is poor network connectivity or too busy of a network. And what I would suggest is to set the delays on Wi-Fi from 1,000 milliseconds from 1 second to put it to like 2 or 3, and try that. If you increase the buffer on the network link, it should correct the issue if you have nothing hardwired. And either way, if you have only one product that is wireless in your entire setup, that delay is set by the wireless product in the setup. Make sense?
I guess, yeah. I'm thinking that most of my higher latency Mozart platform things are almost all wired.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Let's say you throw in an M3 in the bathroom and that has a 2-second delay on the network link, then all of them subsequently set that 2-second delay. Because if you're playing into it, it's going to be behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the buffers are different for both platforms, I guess, either ASC or the Mozart.
Yeah, you still can't set a buffer on anything Mozart, can you?
Yeah, you can. If you guys want, I can show it. Let me just load up my app. Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned this. I probably didn't, but I think I was talking about moving on to Tidal for a while from Deezer. So I migrated. Officially, not that I'm done with Deezer, but I haven't used it for a week. I've been trying to, force myself to use the Tidal, and I'm using it exclusively through the B&O app unless I drive, because there is no, you can't connect to the car, right? Interestingly enough. But if you had your headphones connected Bluetooth and you disconnect them and you leave the app opened, and the phone reconnects to the app, or to the car, you could still listen to the radio. I didn't try Deezer because it wasn't available, but you can listen to the Tidal through the headphones from the app in B&O natively.
Yes.
You can't do that with Deezer. I was quite surprised. And the sound quality I think it's much better on Tidal than Deezer. If you listen into, obviously you set everything to highest quality that possibly can stream. That I had that on Deezer as well. But I find that there is much more definition, especially on the top end, in Tidal app or Tidal stream than Deezer stream.
Well, seemingly, I don't know if this is the beta app yet or the standard app, but now also if you stream Tidal through the B&O app to like your portals or whatever, you can do Atmos. Like it'll play the Atmos thing.
I haven't tried the portals, but I've tried. Obviously, I just have the EXs connected to it. There's no option for that. I tried to play Dolby music on it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, bullshit! Yesterday I tried to play Dolby music on it. It's not working. I did it because I do have the portals connected to the phone every now and then for the calls. So
where have you loaded it up yet? Where can you set the delay?
Oh yeah, I'm fucking yapping here. Hold on a second. How about that? Reset notification.
We'll get there eventually.
Well, we're getting there. We're getting there, people. Chillax.
For the people that haven't seen the leaks, I don't know if they're still up yet, but B&O in their infinite no leaking policy decided to upload the pictures to their Amazon web store.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
smart,
self-defeating.
Yeah, it's just what it is, I guess. Oh, the scroll wheel works. Okay, so what were we talking about?
I need to make this smaller. Wait, why can't I make this fucking thing smaller?
It's so weird. I don't know. What if I make it smaller on my end?
No. Oh, I see it. It's weird. Damn it. It's having some weird sort of glitch thing.
There you go. Squeezy. Yeah. Very easy. Sweetness.
Oh, yeah.
So, boom. Where do you go? So you go to the settings.
Yeah.
And you go to the BeoTalk multi-room. And here is your wired latency, which is defaulted. And this is your wireless latency, which is also defaulted based on your network. But if you change that to, let's say, 1,000
milliseconds.
Why can I not change that? Okay. Yeah, let's say it's the 1050 for the sake of example. Then yeah, you have a second, and digi cable remotes. Yeah, totally. But yeah, this is where your delays are set. So if you set this to a higher number, you won't really notice, but it'll just buffer that amount of value that you've put in here before it goes out to the entire system. And what I also recommend on doing for people that own theaters or any Mozart product, I always adamantly disable line sensitivity. Because I've seen ghosts before and they switch on the theater to a line input and you're wondering what the heck is happening. And your screen's turned off and the light is white on the theater and you're like, what the fuck? And you turn on the TV again and then it just works. But then sometimes it can jump back in. So that's why I always disable. If you disable the line insensitivity, you can still call up the line input from the Beo Remote 1 music list menu without any issues. It still works, but it's not going to trigger automatically if you have a minuscule buzz on the cable or some nonsense and all of a sudden your movie experience goes to a black screen with a white light on the theater.
Hey, is this the director's cut? No. My line in became alive.
So yeah, that's where I would
also
I would
probably if the delay is that way, set your what was it, edge for the same delay.
Okay, so let's see that actually if it does it cross platform. So let's go BeoTalk multi-room here. This is on the theater.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, no wireless. Let's put this to 1. So 1250. Okay. This should be 50. I don't know why. It doesn't matter anyways because nothing's wired. And when I move, I'm gonna factory reset the shit out of everything so it starts fresh. So if we go here and then let's just hop into Captain Emerge and go to settings and check out the BeoLink multi-room. See, that number is the same. It changes it globally for everything.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
But I don't think it does do that for ASE products, right? Because the Edge is ASE.
It does it for ASC as well.
But is that ASE to ASE, but also ASE across to Mozart?
It's a BeoTalk multi-room. That's basically you changing that value in the entire environment. Yeah. You could try it and see if your moment changes latency too. It's ASC or the M3.
Yeah, I recently changed it on the moment because for some reason the moment is the only ASC product where you no longer can set a line in latency delete, where you cannot share it, which is better because then it comes the signal's essentially untreated, right? But
yeah.
So you have to like turn down the network or the multi-room delay to get it to play faster to wiser speakers. So mine is set to 50 milliseconds for both. Which weirdly in my house works fine. Like the first second you hear sort of like, I'm not sure where I am on the theater, but after that, like there's no audible downgrade in quality.
Oh, look, they finally, I don't know, that's weird. On my phone, it doesn't show the charge. I don't know why it's a Spotify. So there shows battery level now. That's good because it didn't before. Pretty cool. So
interesting.
Yeah, overall, I am excited about those H95s or H100s rather. I got the. Did you get the survey to be a beta tester?
For what?
To enroll in the I got an email to enroll in the beta program for I think would be H100s or I don't know. Like they asked me if I have minimum requirements were at least H95s and then a whole bunch of specific headphones that they've listed out. But y'all's in the wrong freaking beta for me because I'm not a headphone guy. You know what I mean? The only time I wear headphones is mostly when I'm on the phone call on Sunday for 2 hours, 3 sometimes. Depends on how long we yap afterwards.
Yeah, I don't think I got that. I mean, I may have missed it. I've also been just doing other shit. Something that sort of went by the wayside a bit last week is that I factory reset my theater, but
you froze.
Fucking shit show.
What happened?
Well, everything.
So I guess the 50s became a lot of laughs.
Yeah, like the secondary 50 would just not show up at all. Like it would show up in the menu where you can add it to something, but like
Not
as soon as you made a
underpower
listening position, it just went to the master and that's it. So I had a bunch of weird listening positions with just 150 active.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I had a boot loop where I had factory reset it and did a bunch of things, and then the image retrieval for the app still didn't work, so I decided, well, might as well try reboot now, right? Now it's fresh and now the basics are put in.
Yeah.
So I did that, and you know how it goes. Everything goes off, the light is blinking.
Yeah.
It goes from orange to white.
Solid.
Yeah, and then everything came back on again, but the light kept blinking.
Boot loop.
Yeah, and the app was totally non-responsive, but I could change sources with the remote.
That's, yeah. I can't tell you what's wrong with it other than that's weird.
Yeah, for some reason it thought the floor stand was a wall bracket.
A wall bracket?
Yeah, like the electrical wall bracket, which was weird. It's which also made the theater slam into the wall.
Oh, because it goes full turn.
Yeah, because it thought, oh, this position is right? We're making a new listening position. Okay.
Wow.
the app still crashes every time you add any like Wyse speakers for some reason.
Really?
At least mine does. Like, it may be my phone at this point. Like, I'm getting a new phone in, well, whenever that new Apple phone is released, because mine is, what, 5 years
Okay.
old now. So, like, I'm guessing it has to do with my phone because it's old, although it's on the most current Apple software. So,
Huh.
like,
Could it be the hardware in the phone maybe that's slowly going? Because I've seen a
maybe.
lot of cases where people had issues with just airplaying directly into the products, and most of the times it's you need to reboot your phone. It doesn't matter how many times you reboot the product. The fault is actually in the protocol inside the phone.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, the image retrieval is, for the product has actually gotten worse now, because now when you go to, like, change, whatchamacallit, product color, like, I still have that 2 minute wait, right? Like, it's still literally just going widescreen and nothing. But then once it loads, it doesn't even show a basic picture at all. Like, it's just nothing there.
That's weird.
I mean, for the record, I'm still waiting, right? It's still nothing. Oh, there we are. See, like, it literally, there's nothing.
Yeah, man. Maybe you give your phone a bath in a bucket of hot water and forget it.
So, like, and this is updates later, right? Like, and it's just gotten from bad to worse, so I don't understand. Like, either there's something on the B&O server side, where, like, the proper idea is what you told Stefan to do, is just, like, get everything off your account and make a whole new account or something.
Hmm.
Because,
Yeah, but that is a weird solution to have. That every, let's say, 5 to 7 years, you're gonna have to create a brand new account so you can utilize your products correctly again, right? That's weird. Like whatever
yeah,
backs up
I
on the
also don't
server
have that
side is,
many email addresses to use.
and that's another thing I was gonna say. Like, how many email addresses? Like, would you have to create another complete new identity online just so you can use your BNO app properly? That's a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, I've had this account for, God, so long now.
I've had this account since the very beginning.
Yeah, but I'm thinking because initially, I like all my B&O stuff didn't need an app, so I didn't have it. Because initially, when I needed the B&O app, I had a BioLit 12, but I was so fucking frustrated with that
Oh,
thing.
the BioLit 12 app was a BIOS setup. Jesus Lord, man. There was a
Yeah.
BIOS setup, and there was a BNO keyboard for the BV11s and BIOS System 4. And then they kind of unified it together, and it was a cluster.
So I'm
And then
guessing.
I don't remember when it became mandatory to actually create an account with that they tied in the product registration to the account on the app, because that's how now it registers.
I mean, I'm gonna have to. Actually, this is probably 2017 because I had it with the Eclipse Mark 1. And I don't think I had anything before that where I needed the app because I just refused. Because it
Yeah.
wasn't like with a BV10 and a bunch of speakers, it wasn't needed. Like,
No, no,
what do I
no. When
need
you
an
were in
app for with
Masterlink,
like 18s, right? Like,
no, the only need you would need is I guess the only app you could have used was the BioLink or Masterlink gateway back in the day, which would have been giving you the option to control existing equipment by the phone, but no sources you could play from the phone to it, right? It was just a keypad on your screen.
yeah. So,
But I am looking forward.
but anyway,
I'm looking forward
that's
to hooking
what
it up.
it's a 7-year-old account. Uh, maybe that's it. I mean, it's
Well,
been
it's as old as the
reset.
app.
It's been reset on their end. I've deleted
Mhm.
the app many times over the years. So, like, the only thing that I've changed in those 7 years is my phone once. But
Mm.
it's to the point with the image retrieval for the theater where every color you push ends up being aluminium and oak. Like, there's no option.
So it
Like,
doesn't pull the images more or less, or save the image into the account. That's so weird.
Yeah, I really don't understand. So
Fuck, and we're going almost on 2 years with the theater, and you still have that problem.
yeah, so either it's a phone issue, but like I don't like I've reset my phone as well a few
How
times.
old is Megan's phone?
Older.
Mm.
I can try it, I guess, but
It'd be funny if her worked and yours didn't.
let's see if I have the same issue actually on iPad. I haven't tried that in a while. But yeah, again, this is a sort of a minor issue, really. But it is something weird, right? Because it seems so minimal. Like why is this thing an issue? But oh, it
I
pulls
don't
up
know.
on my iPad almost straight away. But still, I can't set it to like the BeoVision, which it is.
Hmm.
But the waiting time on my iPad is, I don't know, to pull up the images is 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
Yeah, I
Not
don't know how
even.
long is it on my phone. It's not that long, I don't think.
Yeah,
Either.
it's like,
But yeah, I agree with Matt. The Galaxy 24 Samsung is an absolute work piece and a machine. It's a great phone. So far, it's the best phone I've had. But you always say that when you buy a new phone, till the newer ones bury it in spec and whatever. But no, so far it works great. I really like it, and everything works on it. Sometimes I find that the Android side of things works a little more sturdier and uh, or more solid, I guess, than the Apple side of things. But sometimes I have to run it in parallel, where I have to pull out my iPad as well, put it on the network of the clients, and run the app off the iPad as well. But it's very, very few and far in between times that happens. The only thing that I have issues with that I come across is when I take over the account control, right? And I set up all the products and everything else, and I organize them, sensibly. And then you have the client pull up the app. It turns on the app, but all the images are just a default no image icons, right? And like, okay, so you shut it down again, close the app completely, swipe it closed, and then you reopen it, and then it repopulates that, and everything works. But that's the only glitch that I've seen
yeah.
sometimes happening.
I mean, I told them like this reset recently. It was actually easier to set up when it was new with original software back in like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like it, maybe because I had less speakers to connect or something. I'm not entirely sure what the difference is, but like,
Have you tried that? Have you tried not including the 17s and just set up the two fives or 50s?
yeah. I mean that works fine.
But once you start adding more, it's when it starts to
No,
become
wiser.
not.
Anything wiser. So since where my 17s are on the ceiling, it's all wiser, right? Because
Yes,
like
but
I
so they have
can
no
pull a
issues.
cable. Hmm?
So they have no issues. The Wysa speakers.
No, other than the app crashes when you add them to the theater.
Yeah, no, I've seen that, but okay.
But like the problem with that is like if you add them from startup and then you add wiser speakers and your app crashes, the app forgets that you're in setup mode. Like that whole like next thing that's
you're
all
done.
gone. It's
You
like
gotta
you're done
restart.
now. Your floor
And you have to
stand
go
does
back to
nothing.
the speakers. Yeah, you have to go to the speakers, add wireless speakers,
Like you have to
and
manually know what to set up, which is kind of alarming
the
in
only
many
thing I
ways.
don't like about the way that the Wysa is, at least now it's better because they made it possible that you can play a sound of a speaker that is in doubt, that you want to either connect or disconnect. But like perfect example, also like I could think of not just our shop, but even Stefan. He's
Yeah,
got two pairs of 18s, right? Well, which fucking 18 is which?
yeah,
It just says four BeoLab 18s, right? But now at least you can go doom, right? Which also like let's turn it up a little bit in the volume. Like it should be more audible. The that little guitar
yeah.
or whatever
The
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 bass,
doom
the
is
string,
quite
yeah.
quiet.
It's very quiet. Sometimes like it's so quiet that if you have AC going, you don't even hear it, right? And you look at like theater, you have to manually turn it up, and then you can hear the doom doom, and then you can either disconnect the speakers. In our case,
I
it's always
can't do
disconnect.
the doom thing when I'm sitting down because it's like there's one there, and I can't literally. It's so quiet, I can't tell which one of these it's coming from.
Well, you got to stand underneath them
Yeah.
and like dweebs.
Doom, 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 doom.
There you go. There you go, French. Yeah.
So there's things like that. It made me think if this is the current state, then I agree with the original's sort of proclamation that the theater shouldn't be sold online and should be installed by a dealer.
100%, 100%. We've had one that buddy bought and shipped it, I think, to Toronto, and he wanted to build it himself. But the guy was an avid B&O collector, and he's had, obviously, we've sent him the videos and whatever. Like, he wanted to do it himself, and in my opinion, I think if I were to do that, I would make him sign on the invoice that all damage further on from here now you're responsible for. Since you refused the installation professionally, and that's it.
Well, it's not even just the installing, hanging, or whatever, right? It's.
I think that's the easiest part, quite honestly.
It's
the
quite
6
literally
screws for the wings.
The setup procedure is
complex as fuck,
but it's also infuriating, which will give you a very crooked view once it's set up.
Oh man, like if the things keep crashing on you, like I have a certain degree of patience that I already implement in knowing that we're doing a theater today, right? And I was talking to Nick the other day, and because he's doing another theater for me in Edmonton. We're sending it out, and I said to him, how do you install it, and you start measuring out if it's on the wall or whatever, and then you take out the theater, you put it together, and then blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's cool, but then you're fucking standing there for, let's say, 10 minutes while the theater updates, or 5 minutes while the theater updates, which is not a big deal. But then you pair the bloody Beo Remote 1, and if it's a bullshit software on it, you lose 45 minutes by default. 25 minutes per software update on the remote control. It's like, yeah, man, that was fucking awkward because it's a stand there like a dickhead, right? What do you do? And you can't use the theater because it's updating it, right?
Yeah.
Even though you can, but then it interrupts the process and, start over again, blah, blah. So I said, like, what I do, we greet and meet. This is where it's going. If it's 2 of us going, then, usually, like, if I'm going with Etienne or Max, they French out the dimensions and position and blah, 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 right? They talk to the client. And in the meantime, I unpack the theater. I don't put the wings. I don't put fuck all on the thing. I plug it into the wall, and I ask the client if they made the app, if they set up the account. If not, we set up the account while that thing is booting. Take over the account control, put it on the Wi-Fi network, install the update, then pair the remote control, put it down. While it's updating the software on the theater, I assemble the wings, and then I put the remote, pair it into it, turn on the radio, turn it off, leave the remote sit for 15-20 seconds. It starts updating, and then I go move on to help with the task at hand, to pull the cables, blah, blah, prepare it. And I keep an eyeball on the theater. Once it's done, I go in, check the remote version. No, turn on the radio for a few seconds, turn it back off, turn the radio back on, turn it back off, put it down. The fucker starts updating again. I move on with my shit. We hang the theater, put the screen on, and then only thing I have to update is the bloody screen and log in and download the B&O app. That's it. Then you're set.
Yeah, but so if you buy it online or Amazon or whatever in like most of North America, right? Like you're gonna spend an arm and a leg on a theater, which is like 10 grand now. Which
and
I
you got
still
shaky hands to not damage anything.
Sort of think it's worth it, but it's kind of hard to justify. But especially that first hour or two, right, of that install, you're gonna go, fuck me, like I paid too much for
How
this.
much? Well,
because once it works, like it's fine. Like you don't notice any of these weird like update bugs and or things.
No, but the labor pains is are real with it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and then coming to like making listening positions, like I don't know if something changed, but I think it did. But like, holy hell, 50s are baseless.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the set redirection levels by default? Shit, I gotta close the windows. I'm trying to call it.
-5 on all.
Why? Why does it do minus like fudge, man? I think
Look,
it should be at 0.
On the 18s, it does -18. Oh, sorry, on the 17s, it does -18. On the theater itself, it did, was it -13 or something like that? So, like, everything, there's nothing set at 0. There's nothing that doesn't redirect, which makes no goddamn sense to me.
And to you, if the theater is basing its capabilities of the weakest speaker in the system, which unfortunately would be the side and up firing channels, right? Let's just hypothetically agree on that. Or maybe it's, I personally, I think it should be basing it off the center channel, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where the vocals are and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if it does that or not. But I also come across that the redirection levels are just out to lunch for a lot of these things. And I set up a lot of different scenarios with the speaker setups in theaters and such, and the redirection levels are weird. First of all, I now resort to the theater microphone solely for
Distances, yeah.
the distances. That's it. I go through the speaker rows, I change them accordingly, and then I take the dB meter out and I start with the center channel at 65 dBs and I match everything to it. And then I go and I put redirection levels more or less to 0 on everything.
Yeah, so I had forgotten yesterday that I hadn't yet adjusted the full-on surround with everything going. Mm-hmm. And I came from listening to music where like the 50s were just set to 0 redirection.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd turn on night listening mode.
Wow.
That's the difference. It's like... Also, what are 50s redirecting to? Like, I don't understand.
That's what I don't understand either. I don't get it.
Because if you if you change nothing, right, none of the levels, none of the distance, and just set it to 0, it sounds amazing, and it's not overpowering. I mean, I leave some of the redirection on the 17s because, like, I understand compared to 50s and compared to the center, they will redirect to something.
Yeah.
But, like, and the funny thing is, I have 2 listening positions where, like, just the front 17s are playing, and another listening positions where just the front 50s are playing. But the redirection levels on those 2 listening positions, as done by the microphone, just not touched at all, are set to +2.
What? Where does that logic come from?
Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling this number means more than just what sort of the description says, and it's a combination of factors or something.
Because it reads them, that doesn't make any sense because they're on the wall, so it should read them less.
Yeah. But even the 50s are set to +2. Just for just the stereo fronts, right?
Like if they're to be at 0 and they're at the walls, there should be set to -3 dBs.
They're set to -5 when everything's playing. They're set to +2 when it's just 50s, which makes no sense. I also have a listening position with just the 50s, right? So front 50s, rear 50s playing, and those were also set to -5. So I don't understand the difference of like when it's just the front, it's +2, but like there's a 7 dB difference.
Do you have them in true image or direct mode as well?
Well, this is straight after just whooping them with the microphone.
Oh, okay. So it's all true image.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I honestly found, and it almost hurts me to say that, I found that I have a better experience with the theater set up in a 5.1 surround as it is now with the 18s in the back, watching movies in direct mode, and same thing watching Dolby Atmos in direct mode. So the preset is for Dolby Atmos, a speaker roll assignment, but the sound mode is set to direct.
Yes.
And I find that sounds much better.
Weirdly, I have it's kind of inverted. Like with the harmony, direct was, I think, better for music. And True Image was better for any sort of movie. But it's inverted now, where like now True Image is better for audio, unless it's an Atmos source.
Then it collapses everything to the center channel. It's so
Yeah.
weird.
Because I still think True Image is almost better for music when it's in any sort of format other than Atmos.
Yes.
I mean, you just have to max out the fucking sliders for envelopment and stage width.
And surround.
Yeah. But other than that, it does some magic there. But like for films or movies or whatever you want to call it, or just Netflix watching, I think Direct is better. I still wouldn't call it optimal, but because I mean, Direct is, how would you say? Direct is a better experience if your total system can match it in terms of speakers. Meaning, if you, let's say, have, like you have a theater and your 18s. If you have a source that is 5.1 or 7.1, it'll sound fine. If you have as many speakers as I do, and you set it to Direct, but it's a 5.1 source, it's going to not play in certain speakers at all.
But they will still carry the bass.
Yeah, but like that's kind of a weird sensation, right? Like when I just have like these Atmos speakers, if it's just a simple 5.1 source, where like you just hear from the ceiling.
It's weird because
when I listen to mode, music, like the rear 50s are set to surrounds or are to rear back, right? So in a 5.1, well, that's because what they are. Because I have front 50s, wide 17s, and rears 50s. Like just because they're on the ceiling, the two middle 17s doesn't make them like height speakers, because those other two pairs of 17s are that.
Okay, I would have the 50 set as surround channels and then back is back. I think there's more information coming to the surrounds than the back channels.
Yeah, but so the difference is with True Image, this doesn't really matter, right? Like it sounds amazing on a 5.1 source or even a 7.1 source. But when you set it to Direct, it drops the rear 50s because the roll is wrong.
Understood. Makes sense.
So if I want to set it to Direct, I have to make another listening position with the theater and just the 50s to keep it in Direct and keep it sounding correct, or the best I can with the stuff I have.
See, but then you end up with so many listening positions. It's like scrolling on your birth year in a fucking application form now, right?
Yeah.
I gotta go down 43.
I mean, it's already you now in the. I'm not sure if it's the latest software version or if this is the beta version I tried, but now you, for making a listening position, you go through the standard step of like, is your theater set at the correct position? Which speakers do you want to include? And then you get a choice, do you want it high or low latency when 50s are involved? Which is no longer automatic somehow, which is strange. Because it doesn't really matter what you set in the 50s now. It's now the theater that decides. But you do it manually. So I already have for like certain sources where I have to like double up. Because if I like watch, I don't know, a YouTube video on just the 50s, right? Versus a YouTube video or a music video, the high latency is better for the audio music stuff than spoken word. So I already have like, God, now I have two listening positions for the same fucking source.
I basically, I suffer the same problem. I have two identical YouTube my buttons, but one is for here and one is for the lounge, for the sofa when I sit there. But I do have a whole bunch of positions as well, listening positions for different things, and then you can use them with combinations of different sound presets. And it's something that when I sit with my girlfriend watching a movie, she kind of looks at me like, can you please just fuck off and watch the movie?
Slight side question. Am I dumb, or can you not organize the listening positions?
No, you can't. I've done I would say close to 70 theater installs, right?
Yeah.
I still haven't figured out which listening presets to set up in what sequence to have them display in the order that client would want.
Well, in the original software, it was whatever you did first was top.
Yes. Yeah. No. Now
And
it's
now
just,
it's sort of
it's just
alphabetically, but the numbers have a different alphabetical order than letters do.
yeah. It's weird how that I cannot figure it out. I wish that was editable. I wish that those things on the Beo Remote one were also editable to take off the list and all that nonsense. And but yeah, that's not going on.
I mean,
Also, Stefan got himself a pair of 8s installed this week as well. I went to put them up, and he came back to me with a weird thing that the 8s are more responsive and faster responsive on the app than the theater and his Emerge ever was. Isn't that weird? I don't know if anybody else is using 18s in another room with a theater in another room, and but the interface apparently with the loading of the app and everything else is much faster on the BeoLab 8s. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this could partially be like these. This is a brand new install, so there's not a bunch of software layers over one another, right?
Well, the weird thing was when I updated them. I opened them up. I put them all together, and I don't remember. I don't think that they even needed a software update. Like the Mozart had the latest already on it, which is the first time I've ever seen that.
It could be that. I mean, for the theater specifically, I can understand it sort of because the theater does a whole lot more, right? Like there's so many more connections and things it has to check. Like if you turn anything on, like what source does what, and like what listening position does that correlate to, and what volume, because you can set all that shit.
Yeah, I guess with the 8s is just, you up? Yeah, me too. Okay, let's play. Yeah. That's it, right? It's quite simple where the theater needs to confirm, okay, what position are we playing, right? Is all of my speakers ready? And the source and blah blah blah, the panel on, which I still don't understand why there's like a 5-second delay. I turn on the TV, right, with my button, and it turns on the panel, then the volume goes like 38, 40, and then it goes to 50, which is supposed to be once the theater goes, hey sucker, like this is what you're supposed to be at. And then I leave it just sit for, let's say, like 2 minutes, right? And then I press OK to select the whatever video, and I start playing it. And then the sound comes on.
That could, I think there's that setting for like
the fade in.
Yeah.
But that's weird. Like I would assume that the fade in would be for the first few seconds when the source is turned on, not necessarily if the sound is coming out of it, right?
I think it's any source change or audio format change. Because I have it in the YouTube app specifically. Whenever I start up YouTube, right, it's okay if you then just leave it sit on the home page in those tabs and not click anything. If I then click on the video I want to watch, it's like dead quiet for the first 3 seconds, and then it fades in to the point where like it's literally nothing plays. It's almost like, is this coming or not? And every time you sort of go like, okay, I have to pause it because like I hear nothing, that's when the sound starts coming.
Fine. Stefan is watching us as he went for a walk. Now it's fucking raining. Sorry, buddy. Feels bad.
Yeah, move to Florida.
That's it. Going for Portuguese chicken. That sounds good, man. I might go for that too. Fuck, it is coming down pretty good. Feels bad, bro. Feels bad.
I mean, this experience of factory resetting it, and I had to do it twice because stuff just got stuck, right? It sort of, the first time it made me question, like, does a factory reset actually delete everything? Because it doesn't feel like it.
I've questioned that before, and that started, the doubt of that had started with me with the 50s about 3 months ago when I had to factory reset them. And it factory reset them, right?
Yeah, but it still remembered the Wi-Fi network and stuff like that.
No, they were hardwired, so I never really saw that. But all the listening to tuning presets were still there. So what
Yeah.
did it reset then?
Yeah,
And they went through the full blinking cycle and blah blah blah. And no, it just it kept it. I had to do it, I think, 3 or 4 times before it cleared.
Yeah,
And I
that's what
finally
I had with
realized that,
28s as well. Like
yeah,
it like for me when I had my 28s as rear speakers, like factory resetting them, I just did it once right after a while, and then it's like, okay, it's done now. I'll do it again straight after, because like 3 times was more or less the time when actually everything was gone.
yeah, and I've done it with the 50s, and I've reset them first time. Then I'm like, okay, well, you know what? It's all back, or some of it is back. It makes no sense. So I reset them again, let them boot up, unplug them, plug them back in, reset them through the buttons, not the app, and then they were okay. Then they were ready to be, basically, we're out of the box again, type of thing.
But as I was saying, like this experience of factory resetting it, like while the theater has undoubtedly gotten better with software updates and that sort of thing, it did kind of really make me realize, like, we're not there yet. Like 2 years in, like it's still not like just plug, play, and go, right? Like there's still weird quirks. There's still, like, if you don't use WISA, I guess you're okay. But like, it still can misread the floor stand for the motorized wall bracket.
Yeah, that I haven't had an experience with yet. I haven't
Yeah,
seen
nor
that.
did I. This was the first time ever. Like, there's still.
The weird thing is, like, I could see that as a brand new install when you plug it in for the first time, but not like after a factory reset. The fucking thing's been plugged in for almost a year, sitting on it, right? And all of a sudden decides, no, I'm a wall bracket. I identify as a wall bracket now.
Yeah, so I don't know. I still like my theater. Don't get me wrong. It's still a very good product, but in terms of software, and the thing is, once it's set up, you mostly don't notice any of these things.
No,
But
but just the setup pains are real, man. That's why, like, if you're very right on that. If we were to have people just take it home and set it up themselves, it would be coming back. They would be coming back with it.
yeah,
And
and also the fucking microphone for the listening positions. I really don't understand how with 50s how you can tune it with the theater to have so little bass that, like, I don't think I'm being facetious when I'm saying, like, it's on par with BeoLab 1 bass.
holy shit, bro.
Like, it's more than 18s, but it's not a lot. It's like I said, I'm not joking when I thought I turned on night listening.
Yeah, I find that difference between night listening mode, more or less, or the effect of it, I find between the direct and true image in some presets.
Yeah, but this is like I don't think many people dare to touch the redirection levels if they have no clue what it does.
You're
And
right.
weirdly, it's also one of the things that you, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't see it anyway, where you can restore it if you mess it up. Like there's, like for all
No, it's a
the
factory reset. It's a
yeah.
factory reset punishment. That's it. That's why I tell people, like, if you set this up, like when we set it up, and some of them that are, I feel, that are techie enough that there is a possible threat of them going in and messing with the sliders, I show them, listen, man, no matter what you do, you take the one that you think you're gonna play with or you would like to play with, create a duplicate, and why don't they just call it a copy but duplicate? It's like we are in freaking mid-century, mid 1500s, when the copies were duplicates then. So you copy the thing and then you play with that, and if you want to delete it, then you just delete that, but you still have a reference to go to.
Yeah.
I've learned the hard way. I tried fuck around, and then you get to the point where there is no point of return, right? Because you don't remember how much what you adjusted and where, and it's not many speakers. I only have two 18s, but like at the end of the day, plus a Lab 11, there's, what, 11 channels supposedly, right? Or 13 channels that you have, plus the 4 virtual ones. So yeah, and all of a sudden you've changed values on, more or less 17, 18 speakers. How do you know which ones are what and what they were?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna have to fix this for somebody soon, but somebody that I know has 90s up front, and he added a 19 in the back and said, "Wow, I have actual bass now."
Yeah, that's insanity.
And he did the B&O recommended wanding thing, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, if you have 90s, like a 19 should do fuck all.
Oh yeah, no, it should sit basically in standby, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, it does. It doesn't do anything unless it's like a rear bass, but then it sort of like elongates. But like the 90s can like literally blow your socks off. Like
Yeah, no,
if
I
you
don't
turn them to
understand
80 and your like shirt is not going like this, essentially, then like the redirection is wrong. I mean, I don't understand why. Like there must be something weird in that algorithm. Also, like, where's it redirecting to? Why are we cutting bass from the most capable speakers?
I don't know.
Like, or is it to like sort of? I mean, maybe this is the thing, right? Where like it's sort of a linear bass response, where like it picks everything up and it tries to flatten it so that the bass is equal from all sides.
That's the logic behind it, in my opinion.
I mean, if that's the case, then okay, but that means you're literally chopping your 50s, 80s, or 90s down at the knees, and I don't understand why.
But I also wonder, like, the principle of bass is its omnidirectional frequency. You can't really tell where it's coming from. So why do we have to redirect and flatline everything so your 17s are just as capable bass wise as the 50s? It makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
Right?
it doesn't
in the
make the
redirection
50s
level.
shine. Like, you get all
No,
mid-range,
no.
essentially.
It completely shaves the speaker down.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I agree, and I don't understand why that's happening. But I've never, in my B&O career, had ever experienced that until the theater came out with all these crazy new adjustabilities, right? Where essentially, like, unless you're Jeff Martin yourself, then you'll never have it sound right.
I mean, I guess the good thing is you can fix it, but you need to know where to go in the app.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Unless you're Jeff Martin, you'll never have it sound right, because he knows how what's supposed to tune and where do you go and change these values to what, right? Because on top of the I guess the primitive equalizer BeoSonic, right, with the little wheel where you can adjust all that, then you can go to the advanced settings and then do even more adjustments. And that's where I found the place of never happy.
But the thing is, you don't even need to touch the BeoSonic. You just need to stop it from redirecting.
Yes.
Like, and that's what I'm trying to say, right? Because like the most obvious thing is to add bass, just to like do +2, +3 on bass, and you get your bass back. But that means it's from everything. But you don't want it from everything.
Well, that's the thing, right? And I don't know if they're doing it because of like the lap 28s, right? The guitar string theory, where the bass, from if you put the 28s at the rear, that they obviously they extend the bass response of the theater, right? But okay, well, if that's true for that acoustical principle and setup, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true for your acoustic setup where you have 250s.
Yeah, but even with the harmony, right? Like, it was almost the inverse, where like below a certain frequency, everything went to the 50s all the time.
Yes.
Same with the Eclipse, same with the Avant. That's how it was always done. Like, oh, this is the biggest speaker. They do everything all the time. And now it's sort of like, this is the biggest speaker. You don't do that much. We don't want that.
We don't want to offend you. But I remember that even in the old Bio System 3 times, and now I'm going back where my hair was actually still dark. We played with Bio Lab 5s, put them as fronts with the BioVision 12 as center channel, which there really was none in it. And we put the Lab 9s in the back and with the Lab 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the lab 2 did nothing other than turn on the green light with the power link that, yes, I'm on, but nobody's coming to me.
Yeah.
And I think that same principle should be for the example you have, but the dude with the 90s shouldn't even be aware of the fact that he has a 19. So that's really weird to me. And I'm very curious. I'm 30 days away basically from pulling out my lab 90s. So once I have them there, I'll try to sell. Obviously, I'm going to set them up. I'm very curious to what the result will be.
Yeah, you're gonna have to like play around with the redirection and stuff, which is weird.
Because right now the 90s we have in the showroom are hooked up to Harmony, so there is no pain whatsoever. It works like it's supposed to work. But yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like setting redirection from a negative value to a 0 value increases base so much that it's sort of like, wait, so I just stop redirecting, but where is it redirecting to? Because like it's not like your theater is getting more boomy. It's not like anything else. Like it's just there's no boom at all.
Sorry, we do have 50s connected to the theater on the display wall, but I have them set up as stereo only, and they play through Direct 2.0, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's, I think, both presets, the narrow and wide.
But
both in the same direct.
The redirect value may be set to +2.
I don't remember what the redirection values are. I'll have to look at it.
Because
I'll have to look at it.
In mine, anyway, when it's
podcast.
just the 2, it's +2. But as soon as
I'll take the screenshots. I'll take screenshots and I'll show it next podcast to see what the values are, what we have, the readings that are in the shop. Because there's also 18s with a 19 on that wall, and the lab 50s, but it's all just a stereo setup, more or less. So yeah, no, I'm very curious about it.
I mean, I also have a listening position with the theater and all the 17s and none of the 50s. And all that redirection was also set to like a -18 or something on the 17s and -13 on the theater. And it's like, I like mid-range, but surely this setup is more bass capable. And it is if you set it mostly to 0 or towards 0.
Yeah.
And it's strange. And I guess I should have recorded this from start, like 2 years ago, how the different software updates changed this. Because I do think it's gotten changed.
I think what I've counted the last time, I was just out of curiosity, I think the theater from the day one had 23 software updates up to date now.
That's a lot.
Yeah. We've been through 23 versions. And hopefully on the 25th, they'll get it right. So you get 2 more. But yeah, I'm gonna check that with the 50s, because I don't remember what the redirection levels are on there.
I mean, I'm also not really a fan of the +2 personally, because why would you, like, unless you're a bass head, right? Like, but why would you add more bass to 50s or 90s? Because I bet you it's the same for 90s, where like in a stereo setup it's +2. And it's like sort of like,
yeah, but at that point, like, would you really fuck with it in the theater because there's too much variables to it, or would you just go to the parametric equalizer on the 90s themselves or 50s themselves?
No, just set redirection back to 0.
Yeah, I know, but if you wanted to, like, let's say you were a bass head and you wanted to do more, I would rather play with the 50s on their own native environment on the parametric equalizer than trying to fuck with it on a theater to get them, to my performance acoustically that I want, because parametric equalizer has completely way more control over the sound of the speakers themselves than what you can do with the goofy sliders in the advanced menu of the theater.
Yeah, I personally don't really like the Biosonic ball.
I don't use it. I use it, you know what it's good for? It's good for Bluetooth speakers.
Yeah, that's but I mean, in like I think it was BV11 too, but BV10, right? You had treble, mid, bass. And like I thought that was a better tuning way than like sliding this ball with like
I don't think that
relaxed.
was treble. I think it was just bass and treble and bass and loudness, and that's it.
There was a mid
And
range you
eco mode.
could plus.
Not that I remember. I don't think.
I mean, I remember it fairly vividly, but I don't remember if it was the BV10 because it
No,
definitely
BB10
was.
definitely. BB10 definitely didn't have it.
Then it was probably BV11 in the dealer
I
shop.
shall.
But anyway, like that relax or active or whatever the fuck, it's kind of vague when it's just more bass or less treble and like where you can barely read that, right? And
Yes.
I sort of don't enjoy that. Also, again, it's one of these things on a touchscreen where if you let it go, it doesn't always stay where you thought you had it because your finger moves slightly on the touchscreen.
Yeah, I know. You know what I find? I have an issue with it also when I use the pen on the Samsung, which that's way more accurate than your finger, and it still have issues with it.
Yeah. I think I have one of those sort of silly Apple pen things here somewhere, but
Oh yeah.
I'm not
Does
gonna
that work
use.
on the iPhone?
I haven't tried
Probably not.
actually. I guess I can. It probably the rubber is probably sort of touch capacitive or something.
Yeah, I don't know how the S Pen works, but it's Bluetooth connected. Let's see. Menu. Service menu. That's what I want. Let's see if I can find it. I honestly don't think there was a treble. I mean, the mid-range adjustment. But I don't think it's going to be in the service manual. I don't see it. It's too much to look for. But yeah, I don't know. I think that they're overcomplicating it currently with the amount of tunability that this thing has. It gets a little bit confusing.
I mean, the old version. Say what you will with the older versions of the app, right? Like, yes, it didn't look uniform and everything was different from product to product, but at least
Yeah.
on the theater side, it was a bit easier to navigate.
Yes.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the weird quirk is still in there. That if you want to pair, or if you somehow end up in pair an extra beer remote and you cancel it, you go back to the whole beginning page. You don't just go the last page back. You go back to the standard menu.
Yeah. The only thing that I wish that there was a better identification of which remote is what on the theater, because it should give you the serial number of the remote control that's connected to it.
This is another reason why I don't think what you call it, like a factory reset deletes everything. Because I went to like pair new Beo remote, right? Because they were both gone. So you press OK. As soon as I pressed on the diamond on the D-pad of one of the remotes, it was paired. Like I never opened it for pairing. And then the second remote refused to pair at all because it kept on repairing to the first remote.
Interesting.
So this is... But neither I opened for pairing. Just touching any of the buttons, like just turning the screen on, was enough to start it pairing. This is kind of why I think like it doesn't... a factory reset doesn't like literally swipe the memory.
Yeah, when I factory reset the remotes as well. You got to do all of it because there's no other way.
Yeah, I did that on the second remote, but it still wouldn't pair. It just kept on pairing to the first remote.
That's interesting.
Even though it wasn't
weird.
open for pairing. It just kept on saying paired, ready for use. It's like, yeah, I don't want that remote. And then you go open for pairing in the theater, and then it said on the remote that was already paired, open, ready for use again.
I've had a little bit weirdness with it, but I don't... It usually was with the Emerge that I had a problem with pairing the remote controls. But I think I would chalk that up more or less due to the communist Google nonsense that was going on with it, right? Because I have the VGA or GVA or whatever the acronym for it is, and that made it a pain in the butt. Now it's possible to pair it without setting up your home nonsense. But I still, like, I play with the remotes a lot because I take, the supposed defective chassis here and I put them on my system and play with them to see if they're really fucked or, there's something wrong with something else somewhere. And the problem is that I don't know which remote is what after a while because you can't see them. The only way for me to see it is in the product health, where you can delete the remote by serial number and you can look at the serial number now because of the software version update. So
yeah, if we ever get there, it would be nice to be able to set colors to your remote. Like,
that would be
match
cool.
them like all the other products.
And at the end of the day, I think the color is tied into the serial number of the remote control from the factory to the chassis, right? So if you have a, let's say, gold tone remote, it should automatically detect it. That's what's kind of strange to me. Also, if you have, I've done a theater with the Lab 8s, and Lab 8s were black anthracite, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you stereo pair them, you put them as black anthracite. But if you put them in WISA mode and you connect them to the theater, you're only getting them in silver oak.
Weird.
Yeah. Even my Lab 11, it's black, but it shows us the default catalog silver, right? Color. So it's it's a little weird how that all works, but I'm not too fussed about the colors or all that. I'm more fussed about the fact that it's so difficult to set up the sound proper, and I can't even fathom people having to do that on their own with zero experience, and especially coming from like a Biosystem 3 or Biosystem 4, which it was a brainless procedure, right? Like you don't have those labor pains of any kind. You just plug in the speakers, put the distances, set the dBs, and let's watch the movie, Mr. Client. But it's a little more complex nowadays. It is raining hard. Stefan, I'm feeling for you, bro. Cemetery, that's like a good freaking 40-minute walk back to the house. So, yeah. Just keep your powder dry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I am more excited now about those H100s. I don't know. I'll have them for the next podcast just to give the microphone a good 2-hour test. See if they're worth
Better,
buying
the same,
over.
or worse.
Yeah, if they're worth buying over the. I have a Sennheiser microphone that I'm looking at to get, like the podcast mic. But I'm just gonna wait till I move because I have no idea what the setup and scenario is gonna be in that apartment. But I think it's gonna be done exactly the same way as in the old apartment in Calgary, which is gonna be in kitchen with a view of the beautiful setup. Because the office is gonna be the storage locker more or less. So I gotta put the 90s boxes somewhere, and I don't think I'll unpack all of my shit. But you never know. I'll be there for a year. Yes. Moving, but I'm also very much looking forward to getting me some of those 90s going on again.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Can't see that when I'm doing that, but it's.
I see it. It's already out there, and quite honestly, we're 2 days away from the release. I'm just surprised they haven't showed it in the app anywhere yet. But
well, you have to have them.
I'm very curious about how.
I mean, you have to have them for the app to show them. I guess that's a big feature that did change in the app, because before, like, you could literally scroll products, right?
Yeah.
And now you actually have to have the stuff before release day, before there's anything in your app. I think they've learned from their own mistakes in that sense, but.
Well, the 50s leaked in the software update, right, to the BeoVisions.
Yeah.
But that was only an outline, so.
Yeah, but I mean, that's enough for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's
Loritz, I'm very much looking forward to my Lab 90s, and I'm probably gonna have to look forward to meeting the neighbors too, because it's
Yeah.
it's the 90s.
I bet you there's for the new headphones, there's going to be a day one software patch as per usual. It probably has to do with the app, right? But also with like certain other features.
It could be.
And
I wonder if all those features are going to be unlocked right out of the gate. There are stickers on the box, or is it going to be something that, like we are going to introduce a Dolby Atmos in a few months with the software update, or everything's going to be available as it is? I'm quite curious about that spatial audio, which is a pretty interesting concept. And if they're showing you 50s playing that, then if it's that good of a quality, if they are on the level of 50s or 90s accuracy, then they are worth the purchase, in my opinion. Definitely not something that you would be walking outside with in this kind of shit weather, but I
from
think for
what I've
in-home headphones, they're gonna be in-home headphones. That's it.
yeah, from what I've gathered, the whatever what you call it, the spatial audio, immersive audio will supposedly also work with Apple Music. So for everybody that loves their Apple Music, like I
Hmm.
don't get it, but like a lot of people even on our Discord are very pro Apple Music. Uh, this might be the thing for you.
Yeah, yeah, I'm quite curious about it. Are they gonna? I wonder, like, can the 5.3 Bluetooth support the Dolby Atmos to the headphones? Well, it's basically two channels, anyways, right? It's just the timing and psychoacoustics of what's going to play in your head is what the
Yeah,
difference really makes it.
but that's the thing, right? Like Atmos to this day is so bloody misunderstood.
Hmm.
It just means spatial metadata, right? Like you can have something Atmos certified that has one driver. Like it's like Atmos doesn't mean hide speakers at all.
I know, I know. We've beaten that fucking thing to the ground a number of times, but the problem is that that's the rumor has it, right? That's the conception that a majority of the population has when it comes to what Atmos is and its understanding of it.
I mean, I think it's either ingenious or incredibly bad marketing by Dolby, right? Because the ingenious bit is this sort of like you need hide speakers, so everybody buys more speakers.
Well, but historically speaking, that's how Dolby developed the 7.1 the soundtrack, right? Because they wanted to give the speaker manufacturers were basically pushing, and I think it was David Lucas that was the first 7.1 audio track on the movie, which was the Star Wars whatever Return of the Hater or Vader or whatever. I don't fucking know. I don't follow Star Trek. I'm pissed off at Lego for even dealing with that, but whatever. It's been 20 years of Star Wars with Lego, so I kind of accepted it. But yeah, I'm not a fan of those movies. They're just too much nerd to me. Like, I'm a nerd, bro, but these are just uber nerd movies. But they're, in my opinion, they were a good reference point for movie demos in the shops, because a lot of people obviously watch Star Wars and swear by it more or less. And yeah, David Lucas was always good in how,
George Lucas, you mean?
or George Lucas, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know why David Lucas. George Lucas, yeah. George Lucas was the pioneer. So was Cameron. I think that he was the first surround movie that he's made was The Abyss with the reader center channel as only one, and that's where that whole play with surround started. And moving on today, now you need 7.4.2 in order to have the proper movie experience, which I get, but I don't understand why B&O is now having such a hard time decoding it properly in their system without having to have, I guess, a manual interface or interference with it as far as the client goes to the app or remote and changing the listening position or preset or the bloody sound mode. It's not kosher. Yeah, I was thinking of David Lewis, man, for sure. G man, David Lewis is the man. Is the goat. But
The
that's
king of black and aluminium.
that's it. But I prefer the newer product look now over the more dated look of the yesteryears where David Lewis was around. I don't know, man. How much would it have changed? What designs would there be? Would there be a theater looking like this? If he would have been around, or would they have been still trying to slap a LG panel into a beautiful glass and so on and so forth, and encase it in nice aluminum and make it theirs? I don't know. But I like the way
It's
that the
hard to
Noto
say,
design's
right?
taken it.
Because a lot of that comes down to like the price point where you can reasonably sell it at.
That's right.
Like,
But no, I like the
I'm
Noto
sure
design.
David Lewis would have said, like, no, this is better, right? But if the cost then is like 50 grand for a TV in current times, like, like,
You're not selling
good
it.
on
Yeah,
you,
sorry.
David, but like, we're not selling this shit.
Yeah.
Like, you have a lot of sway, but not this much. Like, you're not going to bankrupt us more than we're already doing ourselves.
That's it. But maybe he would have been also involved in the app as far as the look of it, right?
Yeah, we would
You
have had
never
a
know.
dark mode.
Probably. Oh, that would have been great.
Like, I quite honestly still can't fathom why the loading page is bright white with black B&O and why that isn't reversed.
Because the white is their theme now, I think, and I understand that you got to go with the corporate look, but that should be an exception, especially when you are required to utilize the app when you're watching a movie or you're changing a source. You have everything is dark in the house, and all of a sudden you load up your phone and your brightness is at 60 or 40%, and just this white rectangle beams like just lights up your face. I don't like it. And if it's not like, put it to dark mode, or at least make it dark modable by default of the Android. So
Like, white B&O in black looks better to me than like black B&O in white, personally.
no, I agree. I like that over that. But that's the new logo, I guess. That's their new.
Well, it's the same logo, really. It's just like invert the bloody colors. I mean, if we look at all the products, right, like 50s and stuff, their logo is not on there in black. It's sort of very vaguely.
I also think that the white mode is also a saving grace for them with the images, because if they're all done against the white background or the renderings, like the PNG files that they have, maybe you would have to have too much to delete around the edges with the white and blah blah blah, which disappears into the background when you have it loaded on the white app.
Yeah, or make it an anthracite, or make the main look. All really I'm asking for is that first loading page when you tap the app open.
Mm-hmm.
Like, after that, the white is not so bad because there's enough filament, right? But
yeah, there's text, there's a picture of the whatever. Yeah,
but the
I
B&O
totally
logo
agree.
is like 5% of your screen that is black, and the rest is bright fucking white.
Yeah, no, I agree completely, because I do have an issue with it, especially at night when we're watching a movie and I just want to check something on the sea or whatever. Especially when you change the show. Okay, is this actually Dolby or not? And yeah, you turn it on, it's just like, whoa, bro, come on. But that's just the cards we're dealt with, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. They'll probably, if nothing else, give us the option, right, to like toggle the inverted colors or something like that.
Mm.
I mean, if there's the official, just like make a setting, like, because most apps have a dark mode now.
You know what I also would like to have? A little more functionality introduced from the Halo remote for the theater, where don't just swipe and have the my buttons, and swipe, then you have speaker presets. It should also have the sound, and it should also have the two arrows to control the stand manually.
You'd hope so, yeah, but look, at this point, the Halo is a very good remote for non-B&O things. It's for like Has.io and home integration stuff.
You're very right.
Which is kind of weird when this thing is not exactly cheap, but it works best with other things.
Yeah, it hurts. It sometimes hurts. What is this?
I don't know.
Something's going on in the chat. What's up, Sandeep? Yeah, Sandeep's got still problems. I don't know, man. It sounds like your theater's bloody cursed, bro. Because you have one that works and one that's somewhat kind of, sort of.
But this is another thing, right? I don't actually think the hardware is really the problem. There is still something wonky in the software.
Yes, I agree, but I also wonder how many hardware, how many mark revisions were there? Silent ones, right? Like, did the Mozart chip, are we on the same mark revision that it was? I don't think so. I think that's moved on a little bit, and the board efficiency or whatever, even though they keep the same connector, right? Maybe that's changed, and the difference is that the app, I don't know. I look at it almost like Windows, and there is a plethora of different things that you put into it. And do we have all the sufficient drivers to cover all the proper and smooth operation, even though we create all of it ourselves? And could it be that, the version that they release now somewhat is not really compatible with the first revision of the Mozart chip per se?
Yeah, or the software is written uniformly and not all Mozart chips are the same.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That it could be an effect that's, I guess not unforeseeable, but for them, but it should be expected because they should know what mark revisions they're pumping out into these things.
But I also have this much doubt that even when your app isn't open and hasn't been opened, that it still somehow is connecting on your network on your phone or iPad and doing something.
Yes.
And I've had that thought ever since like these EA 3.0s lost that setting for transparency. And I could get it back with the older version on my iPad. But as soon as I Bluetooth connected them to my phone, never had the B&O app open, it would be gone again. Like that.
Weird.
Because my phone was on the newer version. It's back now, so I'm not. This isn't a current complaint, but it just connecting it to my phone lost that setting that I just got back on my iPad again.
Yeah, it's messed up.
So I am like, I have a little doubt that something weird is going on, but I think your app is doing something even when it's not doing anything. Like there is a sort of pinging of some sort of like, hey, what version are you sort of thing on the background.
100%. There's got to be some going on 100% on that. And I think the app is talking way too much to the mothership than it needs to.
Yeah. It's kind
Why can I not connect? Like, why can I not display my HXs in the app properly while I'm in the elevator and the Bluetooth is connected to them?
Wait, what?
I have to wait till I get out of the elevator and I get the 5G signal, and then they populate on them on the screen.
Huh?
Yeah, if I can't access the server, nothing shows up on my app. So if I'm in the elevator,
wait, so you need an internet connection to adjust your.
Yes.
I'm gonna try.
Or at least for the little time being, right? Till you get I don't know if like obviously I'm not in the elevator for 8 minutes for that to time out. Because if I'm stuck in the elevator for more than 8 minutes, I think the headphones connectivity and shit is out the window as far as the concern is status, right?
But it makes you think that like the app or product needs to ping something somewhere, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's got to ping to the mothership, and it can't do that when I'm in the elevator because there's no signal. Even though the headphones are playing Deezer. So I think it's too much. The ping is too much what they're doing, and you can clearly see how much communication is going on between all the products when you have the gateway installed. Then you go to the monitor mode, and then you see, oh my god, just scrolls of information. As soon as you press a button on something, status update on everything right away. Boom. So yeah, it's interesting how that works.
I think I'm gonna have to, since I have all this Ubiquity gear, may need to make like a VLAN that doesn't go anywhere and see if everything still works when it's on that.
That'd be an interesting experiment.
Like where it's just a local but no outside reach, right?
Well, you won't be able to stream music, more or less,
Yeah,
other than from the Plex.
yeah, they'll be all right, but they can have the TV be on. This panel be on like a VLAN that goes outside, just not the B&O gear.
How can you do that?
Because you can separate products what go to which VLAN.
Even though it's connected through the theater?
It should do, because it's only remote, really.
Yeah.
Because it's a switch, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could also do it super easy and just pull the fucking plug to the outside out and leave the local network running, see if I can actually get into my headphones and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can do that, or you can just have the TV sit on the Wi-Fi network
Hmm.
and still have it interconnected, because the TV automatically will go to a Wi-Fi if the Ethernet connection is bad.
Yeah.
But I had this weird thing going on. The guy came with an M5 to the shop, and serial number 00000.
Oh, you have that thing again where it's been up for too long. Like the battery
Yeah.
drained.
But that doesn't have a battery.
It has one of these CR.
Oh, it's got the CR whatever inside for the CMOS.
Yeah.
Oh, this. Okay, so
that's what drained.
Oh, yeah. So I put, because I kept that software that you sent me that you had the problem with.
Yeah.
Which basically is the initial software version. That's all it is for the ASC platform.
Correct, but it resets everything, so you can actually
It reset
update.
everything. Yeah. And then it took like 3 different software updates. But yeah, in 2 hours, the guy was back picking it up happy.
Yeah,
But
so
that's interesting.
this is an ASC platform thing. I had it on my M3s. I fortunately didn't have it on the stage.
I'm wondering if it's going to happen to my BeoSound 1, bro. Because that's been off for 2 years in the storage locker.
It might do, but it does have a gigantic ass battery attached to it.
Yeah, but I put that in the battery storage mode.
But for anybody that doesn't know, if your M3 is unplugged for, I don't know, for me it was like 9 months or something.
Mm-hmm.
And you plug it back in, it'll sort of work, but not really, because the serial number gets deleted somehow.
You can't add it on your account, but you can join it to play your other B&O. It's weird. Volume control works, everything works. But yeah, you can't add it to your account. It doesn't show up, even though it shows up as available product.
And there is some very hidden secret software that you can upload. And that'll revert everything. And it will actually fix it. And then you can like update again to the latest version. And
yeah, that's what I did. I put it to 1.9 and then I just uploaded a 2.5 something directly into just fucking Horst injector.
It's a huge pain in the ass, because like what scared me about it is there are warnings with it, because if you like lose power, it goes wrong, and you can corrupt like the what you call it, the serial number chip and stuff like that. And then it's really bricked, right?
That's why when I do that kind of shit, I run it off of a Milwaukee M18 power supply, 150 watt power supply battery.
Yeah.
Up the whatever, that converter or inverter, I guess. So if you don't play anything on anything, it'll still work. So for M5, yeah, you plug it in and you just do the software up. There's no way, because I had that happen before, where a dickhead electrician cut the power to the breakers as I was updating the stage, and that was that. We had to change the freaking chip inside it. So that was not a lot of laughs, especially when, you tell the client, hey, by the way, yeah, I know we're 1.5 hours away from the city, but your electrician just boned your speaker because he cut the power during the software update. And ever since then, I always, if we're out somewhere remote and there's other people on site, I update all this shit from the Milwaukee 110 outlet that I carry with me in the backpack. Heavy as fuck, but it's worth it. Because it's not as heavy as the guilt and piss off that you bring back from the client when you have to return with the brick product. Because now you have to fix that and go back with the new one. So, but yeah, it's the shits, everybody. BNO's fun, man. I'm very much looking forward to the headphones, and I wonder if they're gonna come up with something else in October, because usually that's like the release time of something that might be there. It'd be cool if they release those grills that we've seen on Discord for the BioLab 8, the aluminium ones. That
Yeah,
had to have been
absolutely.
that had to have been a bespoke order for sure. That had to have been a bespoke order.
Let me.
Which, like, if I'm correct, then that person, by ordering that, had occupied one more tuning allocation slot out of 4 that are available for the
But why
BioLab
wouldn't it
8.
just be a wood one? Because it looks like the slats are almost identical.
I don't think that's wood, man. What do you think they freaking...
No, I don't think it's wood, but why would you need to add, like, use different tuning?
Because it's a metal goes through, not wood. It's a different material that the sound is passing through.
Would it really have that much of a difference?
Well, there's apparently a difference between the cloth and the wood.
Yeah, but that makes sense because, like, I can hear the difference on my theater, right? Like cloth versus like wood.
Mhm.
Like it with the wood slats, because they literally is no. It sounds so much more open, even though there's all these wooden slats. But like the cloth is very like airy and blow through, but it does muffle.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, this is cat's ass, man. I would really like, with black anthracite, these look absolute baller. Like, that's a beautiful color combo. That's a little too silver for me, even though I love the aluminium. But the black anthracite with the silver girls, tada, man. It looks great.
Yeah, if these are available like this, I'm gonna be very itchy to buy some 8s, which I have no fucking need for, but I will buy them.
But that is sexier than hell, man. Come on. Like, come on. That looks sick.
Yeah,
That looks sick.
this I want. Like I don't need. I want. Like
I don't have a need for black anthracite anywhere, but this would be just awesome. Especially like in the bedroom where it's just the standalones. I would take that. Yeah, I would take that over the walnuts, honestly. That looks so good. That looks very proper BNO. It reminds me of the old microphones.
yeah, unnamed third party made this.
Yeah, bollocks, man. That's totally that's so bollocks. Look at all this. Like, there's no way. There's no way they haven't done that bespoke. But that's freaking cool. That I approve, 100%.
Yeah, this would make me actually consider putting my like BeoSound 2 somewhere else and put this in the kitchen.
Yeah. Would you just get one?
No, I get 2. You put them on the wall, but low enough where you can still like this sort of height on the wall.
Yeah, you can still operate the
Where
touch.
when you stand, you can easily like do that.
Yeah, no, they're man. Like, I'm like lost for words. They're beautiful looking. I really like the aluminium grill. I really like it. Yeah, that should be also something that should be coming into the portfolio. And I hope that they enroll the BioConnect Encore into the portfolio sometime next year, if that's the rumors has it that are true. Because I would really like that device. I think that it's a blasphemy that they don't introduce it on a broader platform to bring people from the Masterlink era into the theater. Because there's a lot of limitations that, I don't think the BNO realizes, that people that have ML setups, it is very hard for them to migrate the entire system because, like, okay, my TV died, right? So we're going to give you a theater, but you have 11 fucking passive kits in the house, right? So now it's what, another $20,000 in BeoConnect cores to put them into the passive kit, so you have the zone expansion and everything works the same way, where it, you know, it was all built in back in the yesteryears. So
Yeah,
I think it would be cheaper for people to consider having the Masterlink port go into the BeoConnect Encore that goes into the USB-C of the theater and give you the ability to distribute the sound into the rest of the system the way it used to be. And you know what? Even if they charge fucking $1,500 just or $1,700 just like they charge for the BeoConnect Core, I think it's still a much better investment and more sober of an investment than replacing everything with new tech, even though the old one works perfectly. So
yeah, I agree.
that's just my thought. And you know, if B&O's pushing for this, you know, green and cradle to cradle or cradle to grave or whatever the new movement of fake recycling goes to, in my opinion, it should consider that. Because why do you make people throw out their old systems? Because you make them now incompatible with the new stuff, and even though you have a box that could do that, I don't think that's fair.
I mean, you can always write to our friends Poly PV and Hall Audio and get one of their deals where you can literally remote control your Beogram with your Halo.
Yeah, like I don't understand why B&O didn't do that, or even hire those guys to nerd out and do it, so they can have, you know, like there is no company on the planet that has that interface from a turntable that is from what, 40 years ago, 30 years ago at least.
Yeah, mid-80s, so almost 40 years ago.
And you can control the bloody turntable with a Wi-Fi remote control that was introduced 2 years ago.
Yeah, so you can. When did data link come in? Like late, like 76, 78, something like that?
I think so. And then it was.
So you can control record players from the late 70s, early 80s. And anything thereafter.
Yeah. Which is insane. I like that they have the icons for it too on the.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are they doing it through the BeoLiving intelligence as well, or just all third party outside?
Not entirely
I don't remember.
sure.
We should get him on a podcast once again. Squeeze some more questions and answers.
I think it's theirs because he states Beogram 5500 controlled by Halo streaming music to an AirPlay speaker.
So it's probably their little boxy box that does it.
Or a variation thereof.
Mm-hmm.
But that quite literally makes your Beogram wireless too for its signal source. It's like I'll eventually get a record player that works well here and just plug it into the back of the Moment, and then I have a very expensive wireless transmitter.
Fuck. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna unpack the Moment just for the shits and giggles. I think I'll put it in. I was debating. I found a set of lap 12-2s and they're white.
Sweet.
And I was thinking maybe I'll put them in my bedroom. I'll buy them from the shop. I'll put them in the bedroom with a V132.
Yeah, nice.
Because about the same height. A, B, it gives me the option then to...
lenses down or lenses up?
Lenses down to match the TV speakers. And because it's going to be already too high up anyways. So I'll do lenses down. And that also gives me the opportunity to have the BeoTime controlling the gateway.
Yeah, sweet.
And I can do volume up and down for the TV, because once you plug in the infrared or the IR into the core, and you plug the core into the shape amplifier, it loses all the BO4 controllability for some reasons forever. You cannot factory reset the core back to be able to support old BO remote or old BO4. It only takes BO remote 1 commands.
Can
So the
you
IR
put an
protocol
IR
changes.
sensor in the BeoConnect core?
There has been requests, but that's not possible. And the only way that I can see that being possible is if they're able to change the COM port.
Okay.
But I've accidentally plugged in the 28s into the COM port, and you get sound out of it, but it's a different pinout. Yeah, it's a different pinout. So the COM port essentially plays
Wait, you get
sound.
sound out of the COM port?
Yeah.
Huh. So
With
that
data
could be a
leaks, like
sub
it was all
out.
fucked up, more or less. Yeah. I haven't tried it, but it's a data leak, so you get the when you do the volume. So
Hmm.
it's a different pinout. If I could figure out what the fuck the pinout is on the COM port, which I wonder if there is a service manual. There's a whole bunch of road rage going on downstairs. If I can figure out the pinout on the COM port, then yeah, you could probably put it in there as a, because it has to trigger the bloody theater. I mean the theater all over the map. It has to trigger the amp,
Yeah.
like PowerLink trigger, right? And I don't know what. There's got to be some sort of a data communication, of course, because it sets all the amps to slave mode.
Yeah.
The primary now becomes the actual BeoConnect core.
Interesting. So, I guess maybe we can spam them and ask, like, could you please make a cable so this could be used as a sub out? Because that would be wonderful, right? Like to actually drive a proper 2.1 system out of the BeoConnect core.
Yeah, I think that at that point, Steve should be able to make that cable without any issues. Let's go to sound systems.
Because,
BeoConnect core.
I mean, I know you can daisy chain in a 19 to like 18s and 17s and whatnot. But the way to do it is really suboptimal because you have to set the 18s to what, like -8 or something, and then up the gain thing on your 19 to quite a bit. And it's sort of like, this seems like a weird afterthought.
I'm trying to find if I can. There's a wiring diagram, but it doesn't show. Oh, hold on a second. There it is, service manual. Let's see if there is in the service manual. If there's a pinout in the service manual, that'd be sweet boobies. But I don't see it. Where is the link? It doesn't give me the. I'll call this. No, it just gives me that nonsense. I can't find it. But that'd be interesting to see if there is a way to do that, because yeah, that would open a possibility to put a BeoLab 19, which I don't understand why they can't. It sounds so much better with the 19 in the bottom of the shape. No matter, I don't care how many tiles you have. You put a subwoofer in there, it's a different system. It's a completely different system. I'm sure that if you get into 6 or 7 amps with all the speakers loaded into them, then boom. But when you have, like we have, I think a 14 tile system with 3 amps and 6 speakers in it.
There's only so much air those smaller. Are they 4-inch drivers can push?
I think they're 4.5 or 5. I don't think they're 5.
No, I think they're 4. But anyway, I mean, even if you have 20, right? Like they only have about like that much movement in them.
Yeah, they don't have much movement in there for sure.
I mean, just the amount of air and a 19, the 8-inch drivers on that can like physically move, because like when it's thumping, you literally see it do accordion motions.
Speaker driver. Woofer is 5.25 and tweeter is 3/4 inch on the shape. 80 watts per channel.
Yeah, but you're limited on just like you can't pull that woofer back an inch. Like that.
Well, it would be the only time you did.
Yeah.
It'd be the only time that it ever did that.
I mean, because the tile's only what, like that thick total, something like that.
It's got a little bit of travel, but nowhere near enough.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna put the shape together. Fuck it, man. I just don't wanna do that.
Swiss cheese.
Bro, like 72 holes, man.
You're better off buying a sheet of plywood and just mounting it all on that, and then having like 2 fuck you hooks into the studs.
But you know what though? It makes no difference really, because the moral of the story is if you put one hole, it doesn't matter how big it is, and you patch the wall, you have to paint the whole wall. So 1 hole or 72 holes, call this, it's no difference really.
2 lag bolts versus 72 holes. Like, you paint a little bit before, like, you notice. But if you have, like, 72 holes here, like, it's a different story.
Well, I just tape a lot more and sand a lot more. But
look,
at the end
I've
of the day,
already rehung things in my house, right? And patched up holes and just did that with some paint. And, you can't see it.
No, I understand that. But here's the thing. I've lived in that apartment for 6 years. I've put the shape I put in 2018. So 4 years on the wall. When I took it off, you could see the outline. Like the colors changed on the paint, right? Because it's sun faded a little bit. So I had to do it regardless. And you know what? I said, fuck it. If I'm gonna do it anyways, the damage is done. Might as well just, and it looks great.
Put it on a sheet of plywood and put it on a giant vase mount so you can move it around.
Oh, yeah, get the gyro from STB brackets. Pull out shape and rotate it. But
maybe for the Atmos experience, you can rotate it above.
Yeah, cook my amp because it's upside down. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna mess with the shape. I might sell it. I don't know yet. But I don't think I'll put it up on the wall. I thought about putting up on the wall in the new apartment, to use it as rear surrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then put the 18s as back surrounds and put the 18s in what's it called? Surround mode. But I don't know if I'm gonna venture down that avenue.
Just get some 8s.
I don't need the 8s. I'm gonna pull out the 90s, man. I don't need the 8s.
Already established, we don't need any of this. We want it, and it's better.
But I don't want it. I should sell I'm honestly thinking maybe I will sell the shape, and maybe I will get the 8s and just put them in the bedroom.
Or put your 4s on the ceiling or something.
I don't know if I have them. I have to look for them.
Or put those 12-2s on the ceiling.
I can't put anything on the ceiling because it's exposed concrete. So
double-sided sticky tape.
Fuck that, man. Yeah, so I can wake up at 3 a.m. to shit coming off the wall. No. And there's a cable management issue, right? Because there's nowhere to put the cables. It's exposed. Like I said, the ceiling is the concrete of the neighbor. But
all right. Well, that'll be interesting. I'm gonna call it for this week because I have other stuff to do. But hope everybody has a good week. See you in a few days and that sort of thing. Have a good one.
That's right, with the new headphones on. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.